Well, hi everyone. We're back. I think it's safe to say that this will be a very different tone than we were with Justice League.
Yeah.
Sure.
I think we're
Completely
right off the
different.
bat. Let's be honest. I think we all enjoyed this movie. This was a pretty good movie.
Yeah, absolutely.
And another thing to start off with.
I guess we should say the name of the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, men are trash.
The alternate title to Promising Young Woman. Carey Mulligan is the star. Bo Burnham is in it.
Emerald Fennell.
Emerald Fennell, I didn't know that. That's good. Good catch.
Alfred Octopus.
Alfred Molina makes an appearance. Pretty much like a lot of people that are men that you know of as like, oh, I've seen that guy in other things.
Yeah.
If there's a guy like that that's an actor, you're like, I've seen that guy in other things. He plays a douchebag in this movie.
They cast very well.
Yeah, and they did great. And you're going to watch one of your favorite actors, no doubt, play a horrible human being.
Which I think is great. It says a lot about the actors that chose to be a part of this movie. That they chose to tell this type of story. I think that's great.
Yeah. I think so. I think it was a conscious choice of the casting directors and the actors themselves to know that their public image is of a very kind-hearted, well-known, really likable person to play complete assholes so that it could work.
Yeah, because it informs those scenes too.
It does.
Of that idea, which this movie is very good at talking about, of that a nice people think they are the good guy and they are not at all. That everybody thinks they are the good guy, and oftentimes
I have continuous goosebumps throughout this entire filming. I was getting ready to come over, and literally my whole body was just covered in goosebumps because I just kept thinking about the movie. Thinking about it.
So honestly, where to start
I don't know,
with
man.
this?
I think we should just go down the plot, go through it chronologically, or.
Well, I went into this movie completely blind.
Same.
At first, I thought it might be something like that movie Teeth. You guys ever see Teeth?
I love that movie.
I did too.
I thought similarly.
I didn't know the tone of the movie was going to be like it was. It had some thriller horror aspects.
Right.
And it was also
wonderful.
Very funny.
Yeah.
Like at times, the banter between, and I think that serves a good purpose of making you feel safe at certain points, because but also off guard, because that at any point these characters, that a lot of them are terrible people, and that even the ones that you don't know for sure are terrible people, that we've seen it. You see enough examples early in the movie of people that start off being a good guy turning into a terrible person. You don't know who's going to be terrible at any moment. So anytime you laugh at a character making a joke, it's like, when will this go sour? Which is, I think, a way to put you in the real experience of
that woman.
Of that woman and a lot of women, of, how much can I laugh at what this person is saying before, it goes sour.
I mean, there was a moment where I realized that I had 40 minutes left in the movie, and I'm like, oh, crap, things are about to, get really bad in the next 10 minutes.
I think the movie was well paced, though. The tonal shifts were really well done.
Yeah.
And
it got really bad 1 minute later.
Yeah, I mean, it brought you on this very extreme journey of this woman trying to come to terms, not even come to terms, trying to seek revenge for something that happened to her best friend.
Yeah, I like the twist that, well, I don't know if you can call it a twist, but I like the twist that this was...
There were multiple twists. There were shocking moments that were also not shocking.
But initially I thought she was on a revenge spree for someone that got at her, but no, it turns out she was avenging the main victim. There's no right way to say this.
The victim of the assault.
I liked the pacing of everything they revealed throughout the movie, including the fact that Nina was not, I think everybody watching this movie, you're kind of led to believe that possibly it was a sister. At least I thought so with the childhood photos.
Yeah, I guess I always knew that they were upfront about them being in school together.
Yeah. I thought she was a best friend.
Yeah, I thought friend early on, but I can see where that leads.
I thought possibly they were family because of all the family photos in her room, and you don't often see women being friends from childhood into their 30s. That's
right.
not that it's unheard of, but it is a little bit of a rarity, I think, for anybody to have a childhood friend that long.
I've never thought about that, but I feel like that is, now that you say that, and I think about, like, women I know, and how many of them, like, 50% of my close friend group I've known most of my life, at least since high school.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then you think about who I know, like, women I know that have friends like that they knew from high school, and it is rarer, much rarer.
I think it's just the nature of the way women are forced to behave and see each other sometimes. It is hard. It has been hard in the past to have very close, long-lasting female friendships. And maybe that's a stretch, but I know I have struggled with that.
Well, and they, in a lot of ways, I mean, maybe not that specific thing, but address that with the Alison Brie character and with,
they do
with the dean.
They absolutely do.
Women. She's Laura Dern plays the dean of the medical school. Yeah, so they address that absolutely in a way that the movie does really wonderfully, addresses these issues with like a lot of restraint, but being like pointed.
Being cautious too.
Yeah, cautious.
You have men, you have promising young women who do these things to themselves, and then you have men whose reputation precedes them, and people are afraid to ruin that young man's life and to affect his life by such accusations. Like they did that so well throughout the whole movie. Even to the end, the men still win in a way, and
I'm excited to get to. I have a lot of thoughts on that, and I'm interested to get.
They don't win, but the only way that women can win is psychologically.
Mm-hmm. She doesn't kill anyone in this movie.
No, she doesn't. I mean, you kind of led to believe that she does it, like when she's eating the hot
the
dog with the
donut
blood red ketchup dripping down her body.
That was great.
And you're led to believe so many things throughout this movie, that she allows a man to rape Alison Brie's character, that she kills a man, that maybe the red pen marks in the book are men that she has killed, and the blue pen marks are men that she had let go because they didn't take it too far.
She sex trafficked the dean's daughter.
But she
you're led to believe that.
But she didn't. Like,
no, she didn't do any of that.
It's very. It's a psychological warfare.
Yeah.
There was something that I really, really loved about the scene with the dean. Well, I loved a lot of things about that scene, but I don't know if it was intentional. But when Cassie was talking to the dean, right above and behind her is a photo of like the very first headmaster of the college, which kind of like
I'm sure that's intentional.
Visual subtext wise kind of shows that this woman in a modern position of power has tradition and men values looming over her and like backing her up.
Yeah, that's intentional for sure.
Watching over her. The moment I saw that, I'm like, ugh, I love that.
Emma, what is like a, acting moment you were particularly impressed by?
The moment that she watched the video.
Yeah.
Oof. That really hurt to watch. That was very emotional. Mm-hmm. A silent moment for I don't know what it was, 30 seconds or so of her seeing that video, and then later you find out that Bo Burnham's character was in that video, and just kind of thinking back on her performance still in that moment, and you hadn't seen her break down like that yet. The culmination of everything that she was experiencing throughout this film, and everything that she was kind of holding in and using to get back at men and to challenge them and to hurt them psychologically, it all kind of came out in that moment. That was beautiful. I mean, her entire performance was beautiful. I like that. I don't know if you guys know that Margot Robbie produced this movie. And I read a couple reviews afterwards on my way here, and I really like that Margot Robbie had actually taken herself out of the running for the role.
Sure.
Because an obvious choice, if you think about it, would have been Margot Robbie.
Yeah.
But because of her career thus far, she is kind of she's very sexualized and well known for doing roles like Harley Quinn and
her first on-screen
Wolf of Wall Street. She's a brilliant actor. She does wonderful work, but she is a little more sexualized than Carey Mulligan is in her career. And you don't expect Carey Mulligan to play a role like this. based on her career thus far.
Yeah.
And you wonder even, does she have the power to do that? Does she have the depth to do it? But the fact is, like, every woman has the depth to do this. They just needed to find someone who was unassuming. And I think that she was the perfect choice for the role. She did a wonderful job. I cannot imagine what a journey that would have been to do a role like this and to have to go through all of those emotions and play a powerful part. Like, it was very, very good.
Yeah, absolutely.
I really wouldn't change anything about any performance in this film at all. I loved every single performance.
No, I have one big flaw in this movie, and it has nothing to do with the performance.
Yeah.
And we'll get to the flaw by it.
One thing I did want to mention about the plot that just popped into my head was that I really love what they did with Bo Burnham's character, because 3/4 of the way through the movie, I kept thinking, what is the purpose of this relationship? It feels like this movie could be really good even without her having this relationship, because it feels like in every female-driven movie about empowerment, about revenge or anything, there's always just a fucking romance plot
and that
tossed in there.
the way that she abandons this self-destructive quest for revenge is through a man
Right.
that
And
she
that
falls
felt
in love
so-
with. Yeah.
It felt so wrong.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
maybe that was on purpose for them
I mean,
to
there
feel
are-
wrong, but
there
they
are-
fix it though. They fix
Yeah.
it by him
Right.
being.
They fix it by
fucking-
letting her ruin his life.
They fix it by him, and they. Because so many men that you trust and you know and you love over years can just fucking turn out to be an asshole or a
Right.
piece of shit or a lowlife that has done something like this. So many times I know men like that. I have experienced it myself after years of knowing them and trusting them. They've done it. They're part of it. And it hurts really bad. And she just smiled, got back at him, and she won. She fucking won, man. She won. She died, but she won.
Yeah.
Spoilers, by the way. You know what? If you clicked on a 50-minute review, obviously there's gonna be.
I guess I wonder if maybe in our market, because I think that both our reviews and really all of our reviews in general, we do them based on you've already seen the movie and
Yes.
right. Talk back. So maybe review
Also,
is always the right choice.
There
but-
should be a trigger warning at the beginning of this for talk of rape and violence and
Yeah.
Good point.
all of that, because
Well, actually, I may piggyback off that for my
yeah,
writing
what
moment
did you-
that I was impressed with, and I didn't realize this till the end of the movie, where maybe I guess the climax of the movie when she has Al handcuffed to the bed and she says, "I want you to say what you did," and neither of them say the word rape.
no, it's not in
And
the
then you
entire
think,
script.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was.
Yeah.
Nowhere in the entire script do they say the word rape. And I realized it in that moment because he wouldn't say it and she wouldn't say it, and they danced around it, and then you think back to the whole movie. I thought back to the whole movie and was incredibly impressed. And that goes to that idea of it is both incredibly pointed and incredibly restrained. In that the whole movie as a whole, and that the use of comedy, the use of even some kind of goofiness, and that all of that feeds into it feeling more real and it feeling like you want to trust everybody. You want
Yeah,
Bo
of
Burnham's
course.
character to be a good guy.
Of course you do.
You want.
And he isn't necessarily. I mean, he is a bad guy,
Right.
but on the surface, he isn't necessarily a really
that
shitty human.
If you
It
didn't go to
just-
college with this person, or if she didn't even know Alison Brie, that someone, even the stuff at the wedding with Al, that this girl may never know truly the depth of his character, or find out way, way, way too late. And that idea of putting you in that headspace in that movie of it's trying to make you comfortable despite everything telling you shouldn't be
Yeah,
comfortable.
I mean, it's trying to show you how
Yeah.
enabled and privileged a lot of men are and how they are allowed to keep
Yeah.
doing this because there's no consequence for it, because the way that things are set up, especially in institutions like schools
Yeah.
or workplaces, it's better to let it go
Right.
if there's no solid evidence, because of course it's a fucking accusation. Rarely do you have video evidence of rape. And it is just an accusation. You can't prove it unless you went to the hospital and you had a rape kit performed on you and you had sperm tested or something.
Yeah.
It is accusation, And people don't want to go down that path ever.
No, of course not.
Yeah.
And it's terrible, unless it's someone you know, unless it's your daughter,
Right.
unless you're set up in that situation, and suddenly you realize, I don't trust these men. I don't trust people to not take advantage of a woman if she's intoxicated or drugged, because they will. And yeah, I don't know where I'm going with that. I'm sorry.
No, it's,
Yeah.
I mean, I love that. I love all the moments where it shows and doesn't tell throughout this movie, where we see her plan unfold before it finally clicks. One of my favorite scenes in the movie was how Cassie plays Madison, Alison Brie's character.
Yeah.
I thought that was freaking great, where immediately she starts with the power play of the champagne to get Madison into drinking mode, and then it's all just downhill from there.
Yeah.
That was fantastic. It was intelligent, and not once
It
did...
was. And even women just don't believe other women because they think,
Which
they
is another
believe other
great,
people that if you're intoxicated, you put yourself in those situations.
Yeah.
You're not totally coherent, so you can't exactly give consent for something, but it doesn't fucking matter to you until it happens to you, and that's the unfortunate reality. Is people don't care. They really don't. They might care on the surface, they might say something, they might share a post on Instagram, use a hashtag or something, but they really don't care until it happens to them or someone that they love.
Yeah.
And it does.
And,
All the time.
And even that was surprising about that is like, which is something not necessarily movie related, but that like, it's not even, you said them or someone that they love, but it's not even someone they love, because I bet if you like asked most women, they have a story.
Yeah.
So if you love a woman, period, then you know someone who's experienced to some degree, and probably a pretty heinous degree, the stuff depicted in this movie, and that's part of something that I've noticed growing up, and when I kind of got to college and would talk to people, the fact that it's like it people just aren't even asking.
Right.
Because if it really is someone you love, like this idea that it's not widespread, or that like it's small instances or whatever, it's frankly not true. And if anybody who believes that is just not asking not even the right
It's a hard
questions,
question
any
to ask.
questions.
I mean-
but not even that, but just like, or listening, right?
Yeah.
If you think, I don't know anybody who's experienced these things, you're a person out there listening to this and you think, I don't know anyone who's experienced sexual assault. What that means is you have never made yourself a trustworthy person to anyone in your life. No one in your life, probably a woman in your life, most women in your life have experienced that, but you have not made yourself trustworthy enough to that woman for her to feel comfortable. So if you think you don't know anyone who experienced this stuff, you got to look inside yourself, and why am I not trustworthy enough to hear this from someone?
Point blank, there is not a single woman that I know who has not experienced rape or sexual harassment of some physical kind.
Yeah.
Not a single woman.
I don't know any. I don't know any either. I don't know either. So.
Nope. And
Yeah.
I mean, I can't imagine watching this movie from the perspective of a man, because I don't think that there's a lot of little things that you might not catch, or they might not have the same emotional effect on you, but I really hope that anyone, cis or trans, whoever, a man, anyone who identifies as a man watching this realizes how they contribute to it, and what they can look for and how they can listen more. Like, it's just, like you said, it's about asking the right questions. Not even asking, it's just about listening.
Yeah.
About being there, about calling out your your male counterparts, or even strangers, and
Yeah.
doing something about
These
it.
past 4 years for me have been like a pretty big wake-up call, and it's no coincidence that I started dating Liz 4 years ago.
Yeah.
She's been taking me on this journey. Not that I don't think that I was like, like
You think you were too...
like a horrible person
No.
by any means, but that's not enough. Like, I mean,
No.
these past 2 years, I've realized just how privileged I was to grow up as a white male. Like, every day that you wake up as a white male, you are privileged in one way or another.
Yeah.
And
You
that's
just don't
like,
have to worry about things that worry everybody else all the time, and that it's easy to say, well, I've never had to worry about these things, and if other people are worrying about them, because I've never had any consequences for doing something that I just should be able to do.
I love
right?
that study where it was people asked men and women, like, what do you do when you're walking to your car at night to protect yourself? And men are like, what?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
what are you talking? Like, why would I do something? And every single woman has multiple things that she does on the way to her car or walking at home or even just walking during the fucking day by themselves that they do to protect themselves.
Mm-hmm.
It's wild. And it sucks. But it's the reality. But I really love that movies like this are coming out. And I just watched and I recommend it to you guys. I don't know if you've seen it yet, but the movie Moxie.
I have not. I know.
It's
I know
so
Tristan saw
good.
it. I will certainly.
It's a very milder version of this movie. There's no revenge, but it's in the same like genre of empowerment and feminism and.
For lack of a better term, I would say Moxie is definitely like a starter movie
Yeah.
for people that really want to.
Starter movie for young women, totally.
Yeah, I meant what I said when I think that Moxie should be almost a required showing, like in schools and whatnot.
It would be really cool. It's just really cool getting to see things like this because I'm realizing that I haven't had films like this to watch where I feel really represented.
Right.
And I feel like someone is speaking to me and trying anything to make an impact or to say things that haven't been said before. And I'm really, really happy that this movie was made. I'm really happy that it's fucking nominated for, 5 Oscars?
It's a bunch, yeah.
Like, holy shit.
Women are also finally getting like the big responsibilities in Hollywood, like directing
Yeah, just acting.
and
I'm very happy this movie was
producing.
written by a woman too. I was really scared.
There are not enough women like
so scared that it
as
wasn't.
higher ups in Hollywood right now.
Yeah.
That definitely we need more of those.
Yeah, we can continue. with our
I don't know.
questions. Sorry,
I guess I don't know if you've talked about some of the directorial decisions that you felt were
Definitely the painting overhead, which I think that counts as a mixture of director of photography and director. There is I really like the lighting in this film. I really liked it.
Yeah.
It's something that I suck ass at because this lighting that we're on right now is so great.
It was really good.
I've been doing my best to study it,
Yeah.
and maybe it's because I've been studying it that I noticed more
I
about
noticed a lot in this movie.
lighting. It's very simple. Like it doesn't have too many moments of like extreme lighting other than when they're in the clubs or
in the pharmacy.
in the pharmacy.
That was really cool.
That's the funnest pharmacy I've ever seen.
That was such a cool. That was such a cool set.
And also there's one like it's 3 seconds where Cassie is walking away from Bo Burnham's character Ryan for the very first time, and she walks underneath a street lamp.
yeah, when she said no to going upstairs.
There's also moments where you can see that where she is in mental crisis, the lighting is a lot harder and harsher on her.
Yeah.
And when she's in control, the lighting is always soft
I mean, what
on
about
her.
the slideshow on her computer?
Yes.
That was really, really fucking awesome.
And the majority of this movie are surrounded in soft light. But there is one big moment in this where the light is extremely harsh on the guy that has just big spoilers because whatever after Cassie has been murdered.
Oh wait, he didn't mean to though. It was an accident.
It is.
Remember?
Yeah.
He didn't mean to.
Yeah.
And it is.
He had fucking one full minute or so of you just watching her get fucking suffocated.
I really wanted to bring that up.
Sorry.
No.
I don't want to take away from Tristan.
No,
He's still going.
Because I was gonna tie that into Tristan's.
Okay.
It's that one moment though where it's just sobbing, hard cut to daytime, and he's just like broken at that point.
Yeah.
Which I don't give a shit that he's broken.
Yeah.
But so simple yet so effective. I'm looking at that. I'm like, I want to have a reason to do a scene like that one day. You can't just do a scene like that. You have to work your way up to the story has to progress to a point where a hard cut like that is justified. It was fantastic. I loved that. And then there's one more thing that I want to say, and then I'll let you say.
Yeah, we could talk about the ending for another 3 hours.
I know, right? Before Bo Burnham and Cassie have their mini date at the coffee house where Gail and Cassie are just talking things out and the camera is panning and they keep pulling focus to the other one while there are like the beaded curtains between them. That camera pulling was incredible. You can't do that shit with autofocus.
Some beautiful shots. I love the one shot right before, I think, Carey Mulligan's character was staring at a painting or a photograph of a woman, like a portrait, and then a couple scenes later, it's like a cut to her and a pretty blank wall, but with the blue photo frame behind it.
Yeah, that was really nice.
And then another cut to them kissing,
That was
and
their
it was
first kiss.
very.
Yeah.
It was that was a really beautiful shot.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It captured her image in time. It's like a classic heroine. It was like a portrait
Yeah.
shot. It was
No, that was really
beautiful.
nice.
Yeah.
And that was another part of that, making you feel comfortable, and you don't know if you should feel comfortable, and you're like, wow, look at this kind of classic love story that I'm seeing, but boy,
But
I hope this doesn't
had
sour.
no
Yeah.
fucking idea, and the
Yeah.
fact that they did that and they've just
Yeah.
they just ripped your fucking heart out.
I was.
They foreshadowed Ryan's.
But I wasn't surprised.
They foreshadowed Ryan's true nature in the montage when she puts a fedora on his head.
Sure.
Nope.
I did want to say kind of quick about the suffocation thing, about that was a directorial decision that I noticed that I really appreciated, because like, this is gonna sound weird when I say it, and I guess I don't know where I know this information from, but it does take a really long time to suffocate someone, and no movie ever does it right. They hold the pillow or they choke them for about 4 seconds, because it's obviously would be uncomfortable to watch someone fully be suffocated, and most movies don't want to do that, but it does take that full like couple of minutes, and I really appreciated the decision in this to show the whole thing and the brutality of that, because even I was watching with my girlfriend and she was like, wow, it's taken her a long time to be suffocated, and I didn't say anything because I'm trying not to be like, well, actually, but actually, I did have the temptation to be like, well, yeah, they're just trying to show accuracy, like that's how long it would take to suffocate. Plus, also, when you're
you
watching,
need time to come to terms with what the fuck is happening on screen right now, like, because you
Right.
it's so ingenious to kill the heroine, to kill this character.
Well, especially
because
a
it's
heroine
so
that has been acting like she's in bad situations all movie and like always pulled a fast one.
Well, she wasn't bad. I mean, at any moment with the men that she went home with, any one of them could have murdered her.
That's true.
Like-
but it did like put that moment of doubt. Like, is she actually dying? Is she gonna be faking this? Could she like pull a fast one any moment?
another piece of trivia to tie onto that I know of that also is going to make me sound weird, just like how I know how long it takes to suffocate a person.
Severed head weighs 8 pounds.
You
Remember that?
Yeah. You should not use sex handcuffs to handcuff someone, and that turns out to be your undoing.
I was wondering when the fuck he was gonna.
Yeah, because when she pulled out the fuzzy handcuffs, I was like, damn.
But she also knew that this was gonna happen. That it was a possibility that this was gonna happen.
But if she had used police grade handcuffs, which you can buy at an army surplus, like, then he probably doesn't weasel his way out. Right. So if anyone out there is enacting similar revenge style stories to people who truly deserve it, please go to Army Surplus and buy police grade handcuffs instead of going to a sex shop to buy sex handcuffs, and then dress up instead of a nurse as a police person to make the cuffs fit the outfit, so that you don't end up in this situation. Because I would have liked to see her made it out.
But I want to comment on the realism there, that she does fail in a way.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
She is killed because it's very fucking realistic that any woman who puts herself in that position can be overpowered, which is why psychological warfare with women is so prevalent and important, because that is what we have. And the fact that she dies hurt, and it was very hard to watch, but it made that ending so bittersweet. I was like and hardly in an ending of a film, and am I simultaneously like crying with joy and crying because I'm so fucking sad.
Right.
I was like totally torn in my emotions, and I have not felt that way at the ending of a movie for a very long time. I can't even remember the last time I felt that way. Maybe Little Women, I don't know.
I mean, I think that I think that the screenplay was telling us that this is the closest that we're going to get to a happy ending for this character, because this character like was very far gone.
After the relationship ending, there was no coming back from that at that point.
No,
she finally trusted someone.
Yeah,
and it turned out to be the same thing. There was no coming back from that, and it's sad because in a way, at the end, there still isn't justice for Nina. There was never going to be, which is what happens with this.
Right.
I mean, for someone like, what's his name, Al?
Al
to face
Kids from
consequences,
Veronica Mars.
the best
That's
he
what
has to
show.
fucking do is
I
murder
told you to
somebody.
watch it.
Like,
Yeah.
that was the consequence that came to him, and it has nothing to do with Nina.
Right.
It has to do with murdering somebody.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's wonderful that he's going to face those consequences, but it still has nothing
I
to
guess
do with what
I'll
he actually
jump on
did.
that in terms of, I felt weird about the ending because
Scheduled.
everything in the movie leads me to believe that Al will get off scot-free because she still came into his condo impersonating someone else to assault him. You know, we all, the audience all knows that her motives are completely justified
Yeah.
and he completely deserves it. But from a legal standpoint, the only thing he could possibly go down for is tampering with the evidence, right? He burned the body and he got rid of the body, but she came in to attack him,
Assault him, yeah.
and he fought her off and won. And that, to me, I am concerned that in that movie, like, because we know that Alfred Molina has the videotape, and we know that presumably he can release the videotape and at least get him on the rape charge, hopefully. But in terms of the murder charge, with her dead, those two being the only witnesses, except for a number of other people at that party who were drugged by her infiltrating it, it seems that he will pretty easily beat
It's possible.
the murder charge. And the whole movie is about how these guys, if they're, have good careers and are rich, that they beat all this stuff. That, to me, it felt that the music swelled and we're supposed to feel like she really got him. But I didn't.
But isn't that how it is in
feel
real
that way.
life? Like, you feel that moment of like victory, and then you sit on it a little longer, and then you.
Yeah, I think that's
reality
even a
hits you?
further.
Yeah.
It could possibly be a further plot device of the writer to be like, I'm giving all of this evidence here to assume and think that possibly he may still get away with it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think, to me, there's no doubt, like, it's obviously not real, so we never know, but to me, there's no doubt in my mind that he beats that, and maybe he goes down for something small or whatever, maybe at least cause the divorce with his wife, or like, it just felt like.
But nothing that's ever gonna nothing that's ever gonna bring true
like,
justice.
To me, it was tough because like it wanted, like, the movie felt like it was supposed to be this big moment, and she texts Bo Burnham's character Ryan the like, basically this kind of gotcha message, and the music swells and we zoom out and the police are dragging him away, and you're like, it feels like it's supposed to be this happy moment, but I just didn't.
I don't think it's supposed to be happy.
Well, no, like, at least like victory, like you're supposed to feel some victory, and I did not feel. I felt
because
not
of
victory.
because of her infiltrating and assaulting someone
Because
and not being kind of a scapegoat.
and the entire movie is about how these guys can easily dip things that they should go down for. So it's like they have, the evidence they have against him in the murder and what he did is just as shaky as it's always been, and he got off last time. So
do you not think that some of these men may blame Al so that they get off scot-free and he goes to jail?
Maybe
they may
if
turn
they
their
bring up
backs
the
on him.
videotape that they try to throw him under the bus.
Yeah.
But I think that they've made it. I mean, the only two people that know Al are the Schmidt from New Girl.
That's
I call the actor Schmidt. I don't know his real name.
Schmidt, and he's
He
obviously
was so perfect for that.
he always plays that.
Oh my
He's
god.
my girlfriend's
so
boyfriend.
Also in Veronica Mars, two buddies
Yeah, I
from Veronica
know.
Mars show up in the end of this movie.
If you like this movie, you will enjoy Veronica Mars.
Yeah. So you have he's not going to turn on Al, and even Bo Burnham.
How do you know that?
Well,
how do you know that?
That damn smile.
Maybe because he was, but because he's just as much. I mean, he is the one who says you did nothing wrong. You did nothing wrong. Maybe like to save himself, he would.
I love him running off into the woods.
But I'm not sure there's any way. Yeah, he runs off in the woods, so maybe to save himself, he would. But even Bo Burnham's character never turns on Al until it's maybe his neck on the line.
Yeah.
But the way that you could turn on Al to save yourself seems somewhat unlikely. I don't know. It felt a little. I wish
They can justify killing someone just as an accident and that the person left a party. Like, I think they have it in them to turn on a best friend.
And maybe they get him for that, but I just don't know how he doesn't claim self-defense and is okay.
Because, I mean, all of the men there, I mean, you can judge by Schmidt's character waking up and saying, fuck, that was a crazy night.
Yeah,
He has no
yeah.
idea that he was drugged.
Right.
They think they all
so
passed
maybe,
the fuck
maybe
out.
they just don't get that.
And it was a stripper. They probably
Yeah.
burned all of the evidence, so they have no way to say, okay, she came in to assault me. Okay, where's the assault
yeah,
weapon?
you only have other
It doesn't
guys that were like,
exist
we didn't
anymore.
recognize her.
Yeah.
Maybe, I don't know, and maybe I'm just looking to it. It just felt like all this movie of like
They could-
crushing men constantly get away with things and maybe it's just me being in this mindset that I came away from this movie being like, God, I bet he gets away with it.
And I think that's okay to feel. And maybe he does.
That's one of those moments where you said, like, plot hole might just be genius.
Right, and maybe that's what I'm supposed to feel, and maybe that's what more people are feel. It just felt like the movie had kind of a swell to it that made me really think that what they were going for, like you had all the conventions of you were supposed to feel victory, like what all the traditional conventions are.
Victory, I just think you're supposed to feel.
Or like she got something, even that she's,
but
Leonidas throwing the spear to scratch
She still got something.
Yeah.
There's a really, this is going to sound so fucking pretentious, but I think it's a Confucius quote.
Be pretentious.
It says, when you seek revenge, dig 2 graves, one for yourself. And that kind of
they captured that.
Pretentious. That's awesome.
I think that
it reminded me of this movie.
I mean, what I want, one of the flaw that I had with this movie, that might be explained away because you said, like, don't use fuzzy handcuffs. I mean, could that have been her intention? Could she potentially know that she was going into a suicide? Because she said that she knew that.
She does know because in that note to the lawyer, she said, "If in case of my disappearance, here is this video." So she already assumed that this might happen.
But we've already discussed or at least I've discussed the fact that this woman, this is probably as happy as she can get, going out on this kind of high note, thinking that something is going to come of this, and she used not real handcuffs. This character seems way too smart to not think of that ahead of time. These handcuffs probably have a safety. Could she maybe, just maybe, have been planning to be murdered?
I'm not saying that that's not part of it, that maybe she was setting herself up to get him on a murder charge.
Could she have unclicked him suddenly to make sure that he had this chance?
Try to basically not even frame him for murder, die so that he goes to jail for murder.
Right.
And maybe, but then I guess I just wish, because I do think that it's fine to have this kind of narrative of revenge.
And I don't think it's wrong that her parents and Bo Burnham's character thought she was suicidal.
Right.
At that point, why wouldn't she be?
Why wouldn't she be? And I think that that this idea of the dig 2 graves idea, and I did get that as a through line. Yeah. I just don't feel that she only dug her graves the way I felt at the end. I don't think she got them.
But again,
I wish she'd gotten more.
Her whole MO is psychological. She doesn't kill these men. She doesn't harm them. She just makes them face their actions, which I think she does. Yeah, and so she does it.
And maybe that's
the victory.
She
makes everyone face the consequences of their actions.
Yeah.
Which men so fucking often don't have to do.
I mean, maybe not even said it. Like, I don't think I can live with this looming over my head for the rest of my life. And maybe he was just doing that as a guilt tactic, but I believed the character.
No, I totally couldn't.
Yeah, well, and worse, he said it, and I think that's true, is that there's something to be said of that. Like, not only does he have to have basically a rape charge hanging over him for some amount of time, but also he got a girl that he loved broke up with him at the same time. And I think people and you don't feel bad for him, but it's like, no. I think that maybe people will think that that's not the psychological torture that it is. Mm-hmm. But I think making someone fall in love with you and then breaking up with them is probably
it's pretty terrible,
as bad as any other psychological torture that you could do. Yeah. So
there is one thing that my girlfriend actually sent to me that I actually want to bring up, because I feel like it's a good thing to tackle, and maybe we're not the right people to tackle, but I feel like it's worth mentioning this note from her. It's wonderful that this was such a pro-women movie, but a lot of leads in female power movies are blonde women, and we'll know we're winning the good fight when that becomes more diverse.
Well, I do like that Laverne Cox was a main character in this film as a trans woman.
That is true.
Pretty great. I mean, I think the film was diverse enough. But
I mean, she has a point. There's Kill Bill, there's Ready or Not, there's Moxie.
True.
This movie, they're all blonde women.
Yeah, you are not wrong.
They're the same exact type. And I think that Liz is right, that everything comes in steps, and that as long as we're conscious of that, that's the important part, right? Mm-hmm. Because as long as we're conscious about it, and other people are conscious of that, is we don't stop making these movies, and we keep making them more diverse, because the more of them that there are, the more diverse they will be, and it doesn't excuse Hollywood as a whole from being non-diverse.
But you have to build the success somehow.
But
I mean, I did think shit. I mean, it's great that these movies are coming out, and there's a lot of pro-women, feminist scripts coming out, but there's also so much more that's way more important to make films about.
Yeah.
Like,
Right. I mean, this is all.
but
It's super critical of frat culture, which I love to be.
I
critical
love
of.
that they all
I
wore
love-
khakis.
Yeah, I
Oh
love-
fuck.
Despite my dress, I love to be critical of frat culture. I was in a fraternity
Yeah.
for a year and a half, and I hated it, and I was shocked and appalled by things that I saw every day in that place.
Every fucking
And
day.
So I love that people are talking about that, but you can't deny that that's a distinctly white cultural
Yeah.
thing. Like,
So
because
it's
of course white people
beautiful
pick
that
the
all these
worst
men were
cultural
white.
thing. Yeah, like that had to happen. And even the
Yeah.
idea of the Alison Brie character who defends it, and that part of the reason to dismiss Nina was that she was a part of the culture. So it's like, well, you did all these things all the time, so why is this one different, right? And that is like a distinctly, like, I guess, frat, and
It
therefore
is.
white, and it's white by the frat's choice, because you want to talk about some of the most racist things I've ever heard in my life was just sitting in there talking about who to let into
Dude,
the fraternity.
I run a
was
restaurant
insane.
between two frat/sorority clubs, and the shit that I see is deplorable.
It's horrendous.
It's disgusting.
Yeah.
It's frightening. I hate walking home after closing a fucking bar at 3 o'clock in the morning when these guys are still out in the streets just sitting and hanging out and waiting for some drunk girl to walk by that they can take home. It's fucking terrible.
And yeah, I mean,
And
colleges
it's not-
do the right thing and get rid of that stuff. It's
It's not
horrendous.
gonna happen though, I mean.
No, I know. But
Look at all the fucking money that fraternities
Maybe.
and sororities get.
Yeah.
The schools don't
That's
give a
friggin'
shit.
true.
No, I
They
know.
don't care. They don't want to ruin these people's
and
reputations.
all the
It's-
people in
Well, they don't want to ruin the lives that they don't want to ruin their own lives that are being held up.
They don't
by
want to ruin
these
the
people.
lives that are getting the money.
Yeah, exactly.
No, it's their kids. It's their kids.
Yeah.
All the people in charge, their kids are in the frats. They did it and they put their kids in there. And I mean, that's a whole other video of how much I hate fraternities.
True.
And I will
But
bleed
holy
it into
shit,
a lot
Emerald,
of scripts.
thank you for writing this fucking
Yeah.
movie. It's so fucking awesome. It was so good.
I love that this movie didn't rely on any flashbacks whatsoever.
No.
And
Yeah.
we never.
That was part of my.
Like, we don't even like see the video.
Yeah.
We never get the exact 100% story of what
we don't
actually
know how
happened
Nina died.
because none of these characters did.
Yeah, we don't
there
know
is
who
no.
died. Yeah.
Yeah,
don't know.
it's
They in
probably
fact barely even say that she's dead till.
they say
Literally
it once.
till the end. They say
I'm not
it
even
when-
sure. Yeah, it's when Al's the first
Yeah.
person that says.
Yeah.
Why did you say the name? She's dead. But at that point, I wasn't sure. Like, there was a chance she may visit like a sanitarium or something, and she would have been in there, like a
she's
mental.
dead.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
but,
I
but I
thought
wasn't
possibly
sure
too.
until he said that.
Why are you saying
why
that
you saying
name?
that
That
name?
girl's dead.
That girl's dead. I was like, okay, so she is. I was pretty sure, but I wasn't sure.
Maybe that's a flaw right there. That he didn't believe that could possibly be her name. That was kind of funny.
Yeah, but I mean, think
But
about it.
it's
If you
true,
know
like-
deep down that you're carrying this guilt, and somehow the stripper at your bachelor party
And that
starts
goes
bringing
to
that
fucking
up,
show that he feels guilty about it.
Yeah,
If that
yeah,
the
yeah.
moment she says
Yeah.
that name, he's done.
Yeah,
He's like,
yeah.
this is over. It's a fucking joke.
Yeah,
Why are you
yeah.
saying that? Cassandra says that she wished she would have been there with her.
Mm-hmm.
When she's talking to, I don't know her name, but she was on SNL. She had like one scene with her. She sat on the porch steps and they were talking about
Oh yeah. I
how
don't
she
know.
needs to move
Shannon
on.
is her name.
But
Shannon
she
something.
did say, I
Yeah.
wish I would have been there with her
Mm-hmm.
when it happened. So I don't know what happened. We don't need to know what happened.
I like how they're. Sorry, do you have more
No,
to say?
I just got distracted by the cat.
Yeah, I'm sorry, my cat's want to get out. So that's Oliver telling us it's time to get to reviews. I think, or our ratings. I think.
I did like the dad in this movie. I like that they had the
I
wholesome
loved
dad.
him.
I did not recognize him without his voice coming out of a cartoon crab.
Yeah. That's Mr. Krabs and,
Yep.
and Blackhand in World of Warcraft.
He was
And
wonderful.
Long Fang.
yeah.
And,
Oh yeah.
yeah. Clancy Brown. Class act.
I loved their home too. It had like an eerie,
Pink to
like
it.
no, it was like this wonderland of
Yeah.
of girly like features and something that didn't. I like that in this movie. I don't know if it was intentional. It probably was, but her home life, the design of her home, her costuming was all very young and girly and like.
I mean, her fashion is retro, which can kind of be another symbolization of that.
She wears like maxi dresses and ribbons in her hair, and she wears flowery shirts. And I don't know if this was intentional, but it's very interesting seeing someone who's
Well, it
so
could symbolize that
empowered.
she's stuck in
and
the past.
I don't know. I think it maybe is just a comment on women who's strong, empowered, and just power, like they're just powerful, can also be
girly.
feminine.
Yeah.
That was like a
embrace
cool.
Yeah.
traditional femininity.
Yeah.
One would say.
Maybe that was intentional. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe it shouldn't be. I don't know.
This movie seems like pretty smart. It seems like
Yeah.
everything is like anything that
Yeah,
we're picking up like this is probably pretty
it could
intentional.
be that it's made to be interpreted a different way than what you're interpreting it. But
Yeah,
I
I
think
do
that
also
matters.
love. I believe I'm not positive, but you remember the dick sucking lips tutorial,
Yes.
like the
Yeah,
blowjob lips.
blowjob lips.
That was the writer, I believe.
Oh, that's
Oh,
That
they're
was
doing
a
the
cameo.
video?
I think
That's
it was a
funny.
cameo. It looks just like her, so maybe it wasn't. I don't know, but that was pretty funny. I liked that part.
That is
I
interesting.
love the line she delivered to McLovin.
I can't fucking believe he
Yeah.
put the fucking cocaine in her mouth.
You
Oh
keep
my
saying you're a
God.
nice guy, but you're not as rare as you think.
Yeah,
that's
that's a good line.
That's an excellent line.
Every single guy says that I'm a nice guy.
appreciated-
Every single one said it.
I appreciate and was horrified when he was like, "You got to read Consider the Lobster," because I have said you've got to read Consider the Lobster, and that is a dark
mirror.
moment to watch that.
Mirror to you.
And he's like, "You got to read it." I'm like, like I laughed out loud. My girlfriend said, "What?" And I was like, "Oh, that's a book I like."
Fuck.
I wrote that down. That was the
my
only
God.
note I wrote down. I was like, I gotta bring up the McLovin drop David Foster Wallace because
Those fucking scenes where she was just
yeah.
reaming into their
Yeah.
fucking minds were so satisfying. Oh my god.
All right, we want to do some quick ratings before we sign off.
Sure.
We
Yeah,
wanna go
I'll do. Where did I put it? Where
This
did
movie
I write
hurt. It hurt me, but it was really good, and I'm really glad I watched it. It makes me feel empowered, but it also makes me feel sad about the.
That's our timer.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
it still saddens me that this is what we deal with, but it is what it is. But it's not. I don't know.
My ratings gonna sound really weird.
Well, I'll do a quick overview, super quick, of the ratings. So, Tristan movie is a movie that no matter, despite flaws, it is it's a comfort movie. It's
Fun.
yeah, it's fun. It's something you nostalgia, sometimes nostalgia based, sometimes just like it's fun.
Probably show
right?
your children,
Yeah.
one day.
An Emma
That's
movie.
about to make this a little weird.
An Emma movie is a movie that one particular thing that whether they're despite any flaws, one performance or scene or thing about it is so incredibly
Fucking
precise
redeeming.
and perfect that it redeems the rest of the movie. An Alex movie is something that is really technically well executed, but maybe it's kind of boring. Maybe it's something you wouldn't watch twice because although you can appreciate its artistry, you're like, well, that's great. I appreciate the artistry, but I'm not trying to like. I don't want to do it again. It's a slog for whatever reason, and then
Technically proficient though.
yeah, and then a Sarah movie would be something that's very bad, but the cast is very attractive, and so it will last into pop culture through fan fictions.
For however long.
I want to. Liz and I are working on what a Liz movie is right now.
Aw,
that's sweet.
Like we did the top 25,
Yeah.
I think everyone
Yeah.
needs to
It's
create
the
their own
type of
movie.
movie.
I do want to go first because I have a very
Yeah.
unusual rating for this,
Yeah.
and it might be too early to do something like this because it's only our second episode.
fuck it. I mean,
but
we're-
I think this is a Tristan movie, Alex movie love story produced by an Emma movie.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think it may be a combo. Although, yeah. I mean, I guess do you want to unpack that a little more?
I mean, a little bit, because the thing is, this is a very technically proficient movie.
Yeah,
all the
absolutely.
cinematography, the screenwriting, the performances, all the key factors of what make a good movie are definitely way above average. I'm not going to say perfect because...
That's
Yeah,
hard.
it's hard. It's hard to
I mean,
do.
shit.
But despite all of that, it's definitely not boring. It's very fun.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
it's a good time.
Yeah.
There isn't a singular redeeming quality.
yeah,
It's all
yeah.
pretty fucking consistently
Yeah,
amazing.
it's very powerful. Like, I mean, you have fun, and then you stop having fun when you unpack like just
Yeah.
what everything is going
Yeah.
by. And this movie was just so empowering.
There was like legitimate adrenaline happening in
Yeah.
my body while watching this movie.
It helped while watching this with my girlfriend because she and I
Yeah.
were watching like the same movie and then different movies at different times.
Yes.
And just because I don't know, the performances were so damn good and it was so empowering to women. That's where the obviously
Yeah.
produced by an Emma movie.
Yeah.
Cool. I think it's above any of our ratings.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't think it
that's-
fits any one of ours, and so in that way, it is above something that we can call an our movie. It's like I wouldn't even say it's a combination of all three, because I do think technically very proficient. There is literally nothing in this film that stuck out to me as being, I would have changed that. It didn't quite work.
Yeah, even the things that are flawed, you can look past them pretty easily.
There were multiple moments that were like, oh, fuck, this just made this movie jump up an entire fucking level.
Yes.
Multiple moments like that, which would happen in a film for me, that maybe only happened one time. And for Tristan, having a nostalgia factor, being fun, or just being something that is like, I want to say like, it's a heartfelt movie. I don't know. I wouldn't say it is quite a heartfelt movie. That sounds too nice.
I mean, it kind of, like, I mean, if you look at it in a different way, because the main character is led by her heart, and not by, like, she uses logic, but her heart is guiding the character.
I would say this is a deep-ass movie.
Yeah, I mean,
This
I guess
is a deep movie. maybe that's the ultimate rating. This movie is deep.
Yeah, maybe that's it. When it's really good, this is a... Yeah, I guess
A young woman is deep.
I'm gonna try to somewhat loosely base off the rating system, because I'm a company man, and but I think if forced, I would pick a Tristan movie, because this to me is not that, like, because I think a lot of times in kind of the way that I started this is like a Tristan movie is his favorite movie is Hook, right? Which is a movie that, like, through most technical ways is deeply flawed. Yes, but you can't help but enjoy Hook. But this movie is not deeply flawed in the ways that Hook is. But it is, to me, almost ultimate comfort movie. Like, in its darkest moments. And this movie that I compare to in that way is Manchester by the Sea, that is about super dark subject matter. But the way and what is masterful about this movie is that although you know it is so dark, you just kind of feel good watching it.
Mm-hmm. I would disagree extremely with that.
Yeah?
I was not comfortable watching this
Sure,
movie because
and
it was
that...
so much laid out in front of me that I have experienced that makes me feel super uncomfortable. I wouldn't say this is a comfort movie, although I would watch it to feel good about being a woman.
I guess
and good
that's
about, like,
what I mean is like
I know what you're trying to say.
That of finally
I wouldn't say
seeing
it's comforting,
it,
but it's
that finally seeing it, like being like, this is, I don't like that this is a thing that has to be talked
but
about, but that
there's
someone
progression.
is talking
There's
about
consequence.
it is the fact that someone is finally putting it out there is comforting. That even though you have to face it, it's comfortable to know that it's like not talking about
it's
it is
validating.
worse.
I'll say that. It's very fucking validating.
And maybe that's what it is that you're like, maybe people will take it, and there's, I think, some comfort to me, and it may just become a privileged place of, I never actually have to face this, and I just wish that somebody would get it out there, and more people were concerned about it, more people were thinking about it, and so it is, that is what, to me, and that the movie is conscious of the, the idea of never saying the word rape, but is conscious of the darkness behind it, and tries to make it, if you are a woman experiencing this movie, that it is not so unbearable and so filled with the actual visual on-screen appearance of these things.
It's not unbearable.
Yeah,
you
have to turn away.
I wouldn't say it's not triggering. It's definitely triggering for some people, but it doesn't glorify it at all. It's really well done.
Or even feel the need to show everything. That it assumes that you understand these horrors without having to rewatch them, and that it's so conscious of that they make it. It's like, we can talk about this stuff without subjecting you to having to see it.
But I do like that they still showed, without any kind of cuts, they showed the act of potential rape and assault and how it happens to women, because that's how it happens.
Yeah.
Like, men, it isn't quite as violent and as direct as some people think it might be. It can be a gradual thing where a man doesn't even realize that he's doing it. But that's the problem.
Yeah.
Is if someone is not verbally consenting, if they're not there, if they're not coherent, if they're intoxicated, unless you know this person well, unless they're your partner, even if they're your partner, it can still happen. And it's wild to just watch that on screen unfolding in front of you, because it's not too glorified, it's not too much, it is a little triggering, but it's so well done, because you almost think, is this even really happening? Like, is this rape? Is this assault? But it is. Yeah. And it gets to that point, and she stops it when it gets there, but it happens right before your eyes and you might not even realize that it's happening. And I mean, a lot of women don't realize that it's happened to them until way later on when they understand what constitutes rape or assault. It's not as direct and it's not as violent as you might think.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was, yeah.
All right.
I don't know, I think it was a deep movie.
Yeah.
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 It's the tea.
I think deep.
Tristan,
deep is,
Emma, Alex, like,
Yeah.
it's tea you can sip on.
Yeah.
Get it? It's an acronym.
Tristan and Alex.
It's a tea movie.
It's a tea movie. It's a deep
It's
movie.
tea, you can drink it. It's very hot.
Deep tea.
Thank you for joining us. Once again, we hope to
Yeah.
see you next time. And
Subscribe,
yeah,
like, share,
subscribe,
hit
share.
the bell.
Let us know. Keep talking to us in the comments about what you like, movies you want to hear us talk
Yeah,
about.
please.
You know, obviously this is a pretty distinct step from Zack Snyder's Justice League. So you know, which
We hope that you can enjoy this movie even if you produce musicals.
You will.
Oh yeah, that was a comment. All right.
Yeah. So yeah, thank
See you next time.
so much for watching.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.